most of the clients that you see are, I'm assuming, are like 30 to 50.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a whole host of terms that the younger generation who are like now dating use when it comes to dating that I thought you'd find interesting and funny. And first, I'm going to say what thing
is one of them simp?
No, I mean, that's used to describe a simp, right? But I'm going to say it to you and then you got to guess what it means.
Okay.
And then we're going to try and be like, okay, if this is what you're dealing with, here's how you deal with it.
Okay.
Ghost lighting.
That's when you pretend that you're not speaking to them anymore, but you actually are speaking to them.
Oh, not far. Ghostlighting is a toxic dating behavior that combines ghosting, which is like suddenly disappearing without warning, and gaslighting.
Yeah.
So manipulating someone to question their own reality. So a ghostlighter drops all communication only to return later and act as if nothing has happened and no time has passed. And then when confronted, they deny their absence or blame you for being too sensitive about them. So if people are dealing with this and I'm a guy and I'm a bit sensitive and this girl is gaslighting me and I'm like, hey, where'd you go?
Don't laugh at bro.
And then she comes back and she goes like, no, what? I was just like eating something. What's wrong? Why are you so sensitive? I'm like, no.
Then I think it'd be helpful for you to say, even if you don't feel as though there's anything that you did wrong, this is what I observed. This is the pattern that I saw happen. And for me, it felt this way. So I don't like, or whatever you did feel, right? Like, because you stopped talking to me for that period of time, it made me feel as though you weren't as serious as you had said you were. And therefore, if we're going to continue this, I wouldn't want to see that behavior again. Or I don't want to have anything to do with you because you did this. Right?
Yeah, or it can go in the conversation of, do you feel that there's value in listening to my feedback about how your actions made me feel? Because if you do, then we have an opportunity here to adjust, because I'm not trying to change you and you don't need to try and change me, but that doesn't mean we can't meet in the middle and compromise, because if you disappear for 12 hours, it makes me feel a certain way. It just means send me a couple of texts here and there, right? It's not that big of a deal. Right?
Yeah. I mean, people have different communication habits, which I think is something I talk to my clients about all the time, because people they read into text behavior, right? And I think it just means different things to different people. True. So you do need to talk about it. But at the same time, if that just doesn't match what you want and the other person isn't willing to change, if they are, then great, right? You just compromise and then you do a version of what they like and what you like. Yeah. But if they're not, then they're just not right for you, and that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine too. It made me think of, right now in this moment, made me think about this narrative that a lot of people have of like, don't change me, like get really defensive if the partner is trying to have a conversation about, hey, or we could do it this way. And they're like, this is how I've always done it. This is who I am. And this is how I like to do it. Like, stop trying to change me. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, you don't have to change in the way that someone is suggesting. And you don't have to be super forceful about it, but there's nothing wrong with change. Like, to assume that all the patterns of communication and behavior and how I act, well, that's behavior. So all your patterns, it's really arrogant to think that all the patterns that you have are like perfectly formed. Like all this shit.
Never need to, for the rest of your life, evolve at all.
Yeah. Like all this shit that I learned from when I was a child, and like every bad actor in my life, I have managed to get it perfect. Yeah, I don't know if you have anything to say about that I think should be okay, entertaining.
Yeah, in fact, I think it's great if you challenge yourself to be different and to change as you grow, right? Like, I quite enjoy like showing you new sides of myself. So like, it's like a mission that I have to get you to say, oh, I didn't know you liked that. Yeah, like
you like a raw fish now.
Yeah. Like, I like to be able to change. It makes me feel good that I've been able to change something about myself. And it can be a challenge that you give yourself, right? Like, to think, when I'm old, I want to be one of those old people that's like, yeah, let me try that. Instead of one of the old people who's like, no, I didn't do that anymore because I've had this for 50 years, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Yeah, right? I'd rather be that type of person as well.
We're going to be crazy.
Yeah. Okay, almost out of time, but there's another term that the young people are using, banksying. as in Banksy the artist. Banksying, what do you think it means?
Putting your label on someone, like leaving your mark on somebody.
Oh, I mean, it kind of will, but Banksying involves secretly planning a breakup and slowly disengaging from your partner over time. And then you strategize with your friends or even with like ChatGPT to figure out how to do this. And then unbeknownst to them, you suddenly just exit and you tell them it's fucking over. Because
Wait, so you don't use the plan or you do?
No, you do the plan. But you leave your partner in the dark the whole time that you're going to break up with them. And you slowly just like get colder and colder, but you have this plan to do it. And then you decide to do it, kind of like how Banksy like releases his art or fucks with his art, right? Like at the last moment, there's something explosive and spectacular, and then you just leave. And obviously, like, my first thing was like, that's fucking weird and irresponsible and fucked up on so many levels. Like, if you're not getting along with someone, like, why is this a thing? Like, Banksying involves secretly planning a breakup and slowly disengaging from your partner over time. And then, like, it's something to be celebrated, like, I've Banksyed this person. Yeah.
That's quite
kind of fucked, right?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Oh no, it's quite dark.
Listen, Banksying is a bad substitute for frankness and openness when a relationship isn't working. So instead of dealing with the shit, I guess it's quite typical of this generation, right? Like, I sound so old saying that, but like, if you're like unable to deal with human conflict because you grew up with your devices, instead of talking it through.
That's
like,
a little judgy. You can't say that about the whole
Banksying is a bad substitute for frankness and openness when a relationship isn't working.
You can't say that about the whole next generation.
Okay, that's fine. But like, let's just say person A who happens to fit this archetype, that like this article talks about, like, that's probably why this is done. Yeah. Because you don't want to deal with the shit. So you...
But it's sad, right?
And you make a game of it too, of like, this is how I'm going to break up with this person and I'm not going to let them know until the very last moment. Think about how damaging that is to the other person, right?
This is also making me think whether if younger generations know more about psychological concepts, instead of using it for good, are they using it for bad? Like, that's a bit scary, right? Like, if they knew,
they're weaponizing it.
if they knew that would, I mean, I don't know why people do the Banksying, but I wonder if they do it because it's more painful.
Yeah.
Which is scary.
Scary.
Yeah.
The other thing that I wasn't going to bring up that's related to this is the TikTok self-diagnosis sort of thing that's going on out there in social media world. And the stat that screamed at me was over 83% of mental health advice on TikTok is misleading. And Gen Zs are more likely to self-diagnose based on social media content than other generations. And they would do it that way instead of going to talk to someone who specializes in this. I think like that's kind of... Okay, like that definitely does happen and it's definitely not a good thing. But I think so much mental health content out there in the world on social media, I think is still a net positive because it's opened us up. It's made it less taboo to talk about these things. I think people have gone too far with the self-diagnoses and hiding behind sort of like victim style, hiding behind that, oh, I can't because of my anxiety, or I can't because, this happened to me when I was a kid, because it puts you, the human being, in a disadvantageous position when if you would work with a therapist and someone who knew how to navigate these things, you could figure out how to work this story over time so it becomes something that props you up, that informs the story of who you can become from there. A lot of times it can become a really deep sense of purpose because these things happen and I got mistreated in these ways and I really don't think that's good. It can inform the type of adult that you want to be and like you have these values and these principles based on that. So it can be a good thing. You don't have to hide behind sort of victim style. But yeah, I mean, like this Banksying thing is how we got there. Yeah. Any thoughts on that? Like if people are thinking about doing that type of shit?
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta ask yourself why. Why are you thinking of doing that, right? Like, what is it that happened to you that makes you feel you need to do that to somebody else? And maybe work with that pain, because it's obviously something very painful that happened to you that would make you want to do that to somebody.
Yeah.
And I am sorry for whatever happened to you. And I hope you'll have empathy for yourself as well. That's how you're trying to deal with it. But maybe deal with it head on instead.
Yeah.
And it might seem big and it might seem insurmountable, but like everything in life, if you just chip away at it, at some point you realize, whoa, I climbed the whole mountain.
Yeah. I think to add on to that, if you are considering Banksying someone because they've done something to hurt you and you feel like, or if, in my view, like even worse, you just know it's not working out, but they haven't done anything bad to you. You just don't feel like facing the confrontation and the negative emotion associated with having these hard conversations. If you think about yourself 5 years from now, looking back at this phase, if you wanted to be proud of how you handled this situation, what would that person do? Because there's an easy way out here, which is to just exit in this kind of irresponsible way. But there's a way you can do this where you take the impact on the other person into account and the consideration for the type of human being you want to grow into. Because, yeah, I mean, your reputation with yourself counts for so much.
Then you might not be able to do it perfectly, but you'll at least know that you tried.
Yeah. Bye.
See ya.